Just answering questions with WapTech. I was somebody posted a comment under one of my videos about the 450 volt filter capacitor being misused as a sort of a meme that anything that uses one in some sort of attack device or something. It's not really the point of the video, but I'll address it in this one. Here we go. Good video. Mark Steele is a clear liar. I'm not actually saying he's a liar as fact. My opinion is it's very likely he's not saying things that he really believes. That would make him a liar or a salesman or a politician. I'm not saying he's a clear liar. It's my opinion that he may be, and he probably is, a liar. But that doesn't mean anything. My opinion is not relevant. What I'm able to show in that video is that anything that he says is something that you, me, anybody can look up, but very specifically people who do electronics work, which you can't swing a dead cat without hitting somebody who's an electrical person somewhere in your neighborhood, can easily check what he says and say, that's bullshit. That's it. That's like somebody claiming that a toothpick is actually 4 feet long. No, it's this big, and it's not a sword. But if you take a picture of it at a certain angle, it looks bigger. Yes, there's a joke there. So anyway, that was the main thing about that video, is that he's pointing out something as being a smoking gun of some sort based on people not looking up what a capacitor is, what its voltage is, and what the standard filter or ripple capacitor, or just the current storage capacitor is, in a power supply feeding a light source. And what's funny is even the person who addressed the subject in a video I linked to, I think I still linked to it, gets it wrong because there's an assumption that the LEDs have to run at a low voltage. You can run LEDs in series to make them almost the same voltage as the power line voltage. And the good thing is you can make it higher than the power line voltage, which it goes up and down, the nominal, let's say, 240. The peak voltage out of there is going to be almost, or it'll be above 300 volts. So you can set the LEDs to where they come on only when it's at the top end. And then you just use a filter to make it to where it doesn't blink very much. And all you have to do is figure out how much current do the LEDs really consume when they're lighting up a road. And you just keep adjusting the capacitor's farad or microfarad or millifarad value until it stays on enough that you can't see any flicker. Because that's the big deal about LEDs. If you do the full wave rectifier thing from your power line, it'll pulsate 100 or 120 times a second, depending on what power system you're using. That's bad. It's stroboscopic effect. To get rid of it, this capacitor would be useful that way. They're obviously most likely using modules that are lower voltage, but they could string them in series too. And him not knowing that really, I'm not kidding, first month of electronics classes methodology for solving a simple problem, that's pretty weird. That's really a deal breaker for me to believe that he knows anything he's talking about. I thought he was at least adept in electronics and maybe just kind of feigning ignorance. This is bad. So anyway, also in the United States, we use the same thing for the LED lights we use. They're in most of the screw-in light bulb LEDs you have. And I'm sure you'll invoke the idea that all LEDs are mind bender or genocide tools for some reason. I mean, at this point, it's getting kind of stupid. It has nothing to do with 5G. It just has to do with him wanting to do that. He also didn't do a very basic thing. Here's a device that is claimed to be standardized. Okay, well, buy another one. You can buy these off of eBay and off of Amazon. Buy one and buy the little module for the radio communication thing that he said he found. He said it was specifically for one purpose. I don't know if it's right or wrong. And then find another one. Some of you might have been able to look up spy cameras or recorders that look like smoke detectors. One of the things I did when I would evaluate a place for security reasons was check all the smoke detectors to see if they really are smoke detectors. People don't look at them. Nobody ever maintains them. None of you do. Admit it. You probably have one that's been blinking for 6 years or is dead. Hell, a lot of you pull the batteries out because the damn things do really doofy things once in a while. But that's an easy place to hide a recording device or whatever. And you can tie them into the power line and use that to power them. And you can, if you know what you're doing, use the power line to send a radio signal so you don't even have to go back in the building to get the data. So him opening this up, the first thing I thought he was going to do is say, okay, it has this serial number and this CE number and this FCC ID code. I'm going to look them up and see if it matches. If it didn't match, that would be a really good reason to say it's suspicious. He didn't do that. He started fixating on a voltage rating. I don't think he's qualified to make any evaluations. Anybody else who knows what they're doing would say the same thing. And the reason he may be doing this is because that'll create an us versus them attitude, so you will never look up what the voltage rating of a capacitor refers to. But anyway, as from being a clear liar, that is my opinion, but that's from everything altogether. What's on the surface, prima facie evidence, is that he's either incompetent, because he doesn't do anything that proves competency, or he's deliberately avoiding looking up things because that way he can just tell a story on video. I mean, if nobody paid attention to him, he would be literally harmless. There are many questions, though. Why is Mark Steele being endorsed by Icke? I'm assuming you're referring to the space alien guy, Icke. I don't care. Icke is not really a valid source of information. Sorry if your opinion's different. I've come to the conclusion he's useless. And maybe controlled opposition. Or he's just having fun with people. I also enjoy listening to the storytelling he's doing, but I don't consider it anything more than storytelling. I also make sure he doesn't make any money off of me watching or listening to his stories, because I don't want him to have the power to manipulate people the way he does. I believe he's manipulated. But again, that's an opinion. Do I think that he's evil? No. Do I think that he's lying? It's leaning towards that. I consider more of a storyteller. Why was Mark Steele pushed onto the stage at the Democrats and Veterans Party conference? Some of you might not know this, but the Democrats and Veterans Party, if I can get the computer to behave itself, let go of the mouse. I'm doing everything left-handed, sorry. Is an organization in the European Union in Britain. It's a spin-off of UKIP based on basically two people running it from 2018. April and May, June 2018, April 2019, and May 2019. They were represented in a vote. And the total votes, if I added them together, which is a dumb thing to do, but I'm going to do it anyway, says that this party has a total number of voters that will vote, to where you can count them, at 1,200 to maybe 2,000 individuals in Britain. Now, that's not an impossibly tiny number, but the trouble is, it was 60 votes, then it was 180, then it was 1,000. So that shows an improvement in the voter turnout for them. But the one that got up to that number was 54%, potentially, and it was Barnsley, Monk, Brenton, Ward constituency, and candidate Victoria Felton. Now, party took second place at the July 2018 one, third by election for seat of such and such location 2018, took fourth in by-election of a local seat at another location, and won their first two seats at Barnsley Metropolitan Borough Council May 2019. But that was only 1,000 people. This means that this party in the country of Great Britain was able to get a local election in one area and was a little over half of the population that was voting. Okay, that's their limitation. This is equivalent to having a local pseudo-party in, I'm going to say, the Portland metro area, voting someone in. They're probably contrarians because they would associate with Mark Steele. But the fact is, Mark Steele became interesting publicly and became a bankable meme to use. They probably exploited him. The next question. But I don't consider him to be... Well, there's this other problem. In the United States, people are putting up videos on national news showing him as the face of 5G contrarianism, which was a dumb thing to do. And again, he banks on people knowing full well while he's doing an evaluation of what a capacitor value really means that they're not going to double check it, including the news in the United States. You thought people were stupid in the United States if they're news people about whether or not a magazine and a clip are the same thing. They don't know shit about capacitors. Anyway, how on earth does he hold down a full-time job as Chief Technology Officer at a company called reevu? It was originally called Rearview or something else. Worldwide, Rearview or reevu. It's changed names a couple of times. And private limited company share of capital, active accounts filed, incorporated 2007, had a previous name, totally unrelated one, with a number sequence on it. Other research, experimental development, natural sciences, engineering, science and engineering research and development company, and through its patented technology manufactures products. And it's listed with a name of a person named G. Steele. One appointment at one active company as of now. Resigned from 3 other companies and held 10 appointments in 10 dissolved companies, which means, well, here we go. Longest current appointment spans 13 years at reevu. Combined cash at bank value for all businesses where this person, G. Steele, holds assets was estimated $80K total over time. Liabilities was $96.5K. It's in the red. Total current net worth of $188K technically. Director of company secretary was the only thing listed. Date of birth sometime in 1960, November. Mr. G. Steele, British. Director ID code, and then I'll leave a link to it. The archive for this is GRZ02. Next one for review. We're reviewing review technology here. Filing history, etc. Company name, type, private limited company, incorporated 2007, January 29th. Accounts made up to pretty recently. Greenhouse, Greencroft Industrial Park, Stanley County, Durham, England. And then some sequence codes. Last accounts made up, yada yada. Nature of business, other research experimental. Previous name was SANDCO1022 Limited, which, if you're not aware of it, probably indicates an address that was used to create a unique name. Review Worldwide Limited. Motorbike helmets. Rear view helmet, which would be problematic in the United States, for instance. So not really worldwide. And that one is a archive that ends in VGN. And then a copy of their website from 2013. Revolutionary motorbike helmets, and has a rear view system built into it. Sort of a heads-up display to look behind you in a little window. And as far as I know, the ideal would have it form that rear view window in a place that's not in your field of view while you're driving your motorcycle, so you can look behind you by looking down like at your face mask. Located in Washington, United Kingdom, part of the sporting goods manufacturing industry. Has 9 employees. Generates $0 US dollars as of today's date. And as you can see, depending on how you look at the assets, it has a lot of assets, but it's in debt for X number of $1,000 the last time it was checked, per their own filing under tax laws in the United Kingdom, and has 9 employees. So, continually employed at a business when this individual, who may be G. Steele, with a bunch of dissolved companies. I tracked this down last time, and honestly, I'm dealing with an injured shoulder. I don't want to do the track down again. I'll try to find the whole list from one of my other videos. So, to review. Is Mark Steele a clear liar? I don't make that assertion. I can accuse him of being one, but I can't prove that, because that would require knowing everything he knows, which may not be very much in one area and may be a lot in another. He may be fantastic at something. I wish he'd exploit something he's good at. Why is he being endorsed by Icke? Because Icke endorses anybody if they, do a tit-for-tat deal with him. Why was he pushed onto stage by a very small political party in Britain that really only won one area and has maybe 2,000 people associated with it, and that's the voting population? Because they wanted to have somebody up there that would spout contrarian stuff, because that way they filter out people who will disagree with them or even question them. That's my assumption, I don't know. You'll have to ask them. How on earth does he hold down a full-time job? Because he's a one-man show. One-legged man in a butt-kicking contest. And yeah, he might be an engineer for optics and cameras and stuff like that. But I question that ability because he can't identify what a voltage on a capacitor really refers to. It's a filter capacitor, Mr. Steele. And As for criminal background that was brought up, I don't even consider that worth bringing up because in Britain you can get a criminal background if you don't pay your taxes on your TV set just because you owned one and had it in your house for more than 2 years. Technically, that's happened to a couple of people. It's very rare, but it does happen. But I don't think much of them.